Shine the light. Welcome to the Shift Show. Hello, I'm Judi.Diamond.
Hi, I'm Laura.
Laura Pascal Brown.
That is who I am. Thank you for reminding me.
You're so welcome. Okay, so I don't know what exactly we're going to be doing. Just a little tease I got from Laura, and I went, Laura, don't tell me anymore. I want to be surprised.
Yes.
Now, Laura does a lot of readings, by the way. Sorry.
I do. And
there it is.
quite often they start like this. Although this was a friend texting me. It was not a professional situation. And she texts me.
Wait. Before you say that, I have to ask you, being a tarot reader, tarot doula, how many times does a friend say, can you pull a card for me? And you're like, oh, are you going to pay me?
I mean, many times a week.
I thought so. All right.
Yeah. So she's texting me. And of course, it's about a man. And it's about a man that we've talked about many times. And I have definitely pulled cards on this dude in the past. And she was like, could you just pull one card about, and I was like, honey, it was already, 9 p.m. or whatever. I was like, honey, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I will definitely pull cards for you tomorrow if you really want them. And also, I'm pretty sure that you already know what to do. Pretty sure you already know what to do with this guy. And I wake up the next morning to her text and she's like, oh, you got me. Yes, I do know what to do. And of course, the question was, as ever, I don't, should I be with him? Should I not? And I was like, I'm pretty sure you have enough evidence to make that decision at this point. And this is something that I think we've all done. We have gone back to our deck because we just didn't really like the answer that we got last time.
Do it all the time. And so here would be my next question. Did she say, can you pull one now?
No, she didn't actually.
She didn't. I would have been like, okay, so what's next? Is there another man? And you would have gone.
Now that I'm aware that I don't need a card, could you pull one? Yeah. I've definitely had that. Yes, but not this time around. But yeah, this is a situation that we all do. I have never met anyone who has not pulled a card and then surreptitiously slid it back into the pack because it was not, or like kept pulling until, you get the one you're looking for. We've all done it. And also it's kind of a misuse of tarot.
No surprise. Because now that's actually, I was so glad you brought that word misuse of up, because that is what I see a lot of in social media of tarot readers doing just that.
You really think so?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
You see it in the comments. If you see a live tarot reader, there's millions of them on TikTok for sure and Instagram. They're reading for a collective and then they're just pulling cards and then they look at comments, and so many comments will say, should I be with my guy or not?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, is it a misuse or is it, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think the first time you ask any question, it's a legit question.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time we ask a question, it's a question. And then by the time we've asked that question 5 times in a row, especially if it's 5 times in 5 days, it's not a question anymore. It's a prompt for something else. It's I think back to a situation I had in 2017 where I was involved with a man who was a married guy, which should be a red flag to start with. And
but let me guess. He's in the middle of being separated.
It wasn't
I've been
quite
there.
that dark, but I was telling myself all kinds of stories, put it that way. I had no justification for why I was doing what I was doing. And I was telling myself all kinds of stories to try and manufacture a justification. And tarot was part of that. And I used it and misused it in many ways. And I look back at the notes that I took back then, and I think I learned a lot about how not to use tarot. Yeah. But
it's good too, because it makes you kind of be a little bit more discerning as you're choosing a tarot reader. Sometimes I think there are tarot readers and they're really trying to do good, and I don't want to diss that, but to tell you something you want to hear. which is a misuse of tarot. I think what you did with your friend was to have her look deep inside.
Right. And of course, it was much easier for me to do that with somebody who I have a long-term relationship with,
Sure.
who trusts me already and knows that, what my motivations are and that I love her. And it is harder to do. It's true with somebody who you've just met, who it's in a professional situation. They're paying you to read. And so I completely understand the desire of
Yes.
some tarot readers to be like, let me just at least give you a smidgen. And
But here's where I think you differ. And you are a modern tarot reader, which is different, is that, and you've done this with me several times, you've done it on the show, go back and watch or listen to some of the shows, is before you pull cards, you pull me into myself. You'll do a meditation so that you really get to, and so many times I would have, had I been paying you professionally, we're having this reading, I would have asked you a different question by then, a deeper question.
Mhm.
So I
And
paused for interrupting you, but I wanted to just
no,
point that out.
you did. That's often exactly what happens. So often somebody will come with a question, and it is a legit question that that they're not sure of the answer to. And we go in and we get quiet, and there's something really amazing that happens in any situation where we take a deep breath and we pause and we allow spaciousness. And I remember one of my first sponsors saying to me, Laura, there is, when you're in silence, when you're in the question, when you're in just any kind of space in between one thing and another, that's where you find goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I really had no reference point for what she was talking about. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a nice thing that people write on little things they hang on the wall, but I don't know what you're talking about. And today I really understand that, and I use it to my advantage in readings all the time, which is, we go in with this question, we take a deep breath, we find some spaciousness, we go within, and in that spaciousness within, we find either that we already know the answer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or we find a deeper layer of something that is underneath that question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we so focused on the question of, should I be with this guy or not? And the answer to that question is slightly different for everyone, but often it's something along the lines of, there's a deeper issue, wound, problem that I either don't know about or don't want to look at. And so I'm just going to stay up at this level with all of the drama around this relationship because it's really good to distract me from
Mm-hmm.
the real event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So,
totally
and we all
makes
do it.
sense.
We all do
We
it,
all
which
do.
is
It's
why I
human.
need someone else to doula me sometimes. Often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Often. Yeah.
That's why you're
Yeah.
doing the good work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't bother
So
people.
I feel like this is an invitation, given what you just said. What I'm feeling is, we can ask all of you good people out there. We're not going to go in just yet. Just come up with a question you have in this moment, before we've done any kind of, while you're still in your busy mind, maybe you're rushing around somewhere. Just, what's the thing that's itching at you right now? And I'm going to ask myself that question too. Okay, you got something, Judi?
Yeah, a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to zero it into one.
Judy's trying to pick one. That is
Oh,
often the issue. You're like, hang on, I've got 15
yeah.
questions.
Let me just.
So
Okay,
pick
got it.
one.
Got it.
If you're out there and you're not sure, don't pause too long, because the whole point of this is we're going to go a couple of layers deeper in a second. But just, often the thing that comes to us first is the thing that's kind of just loudest in our brain. It's not necessarily the wisest question, but it's the loudest one, or the one that's kind of the one that we revisit the most, like our favorite problem. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, got that. Well, then I'll go to the first thought that came to my mind.
okay. Do you want to say what it is, Judi?
I mean, I could.
She's like, no, not really.
No, I
You
can. I
say it in
can.
a
It's
broad
no,
way.
because it's what I think about every single day, at least 50 times a day. Am I on the path or not? Yeah, am I? I think so. The one I think of, I wake up in the morning with that question, all day.
Right. Right. Actually, my question was along similar lines. It was like more specific than that, but the general theme is, I have this instinct. Can I trust it? Is this my wise self, or is this me just being
The
Laura
ego and
again?
the yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So mine was a sort of similar thing. The details aren't important, but okay. So now, if you have your question that's in your mind right now, we're going to go in just for a second. You might find that is the question that you come out with on the other side. It might stay exactly the same. It might, maybe just the wording of it might change, maybe just the flavor of how it comes out, or you might find something completely different. So I'm going to ask you to just, if it's safe right now, to close your eyes and just take the deepest breath you've taken all day. And notice whatever it is that you're sitting on or standing on. Notice the ground beneath you. Notice if your mind is a busy mind or a quiet mind today. Notice
Or
if there's
bumping the
anything.
microphone.
You're
Sorry.
doing great. Notice if there's anything in your body that is talking to you. Maybe some stiffness, some aches, some pain. Just essentially noticing what is in your awareness right now, what is calling for your attention. And then with that awareness, take another couple of really deep breaths and just let it go. And even if you've only reached sort of 0.5% more spaciousness than you had before, that is enough. We are always enough. And in this state of eyes closed, going within, just see what bubbles up to the surface. See if it's the same question, a different question. Just notice. And then as you gradually and slowly come back to the room, opening your eyes whenever you're ready, I'm just going to, without even saying anything, I'm going to pull a couple of cards. And if this resonates with you, great, but take what you like and leave the rest. The first card is the Six of Cups, which in my interpretation has a lot to do with going back to those feelings that came up in childhood that maybe we had to repress because it wasn't safe to feel, and allowing those feelings to resurface either as blatant emotions or as just sensations and feelings in the body.
Mm.
And not looking for an intellectual answer to your question, but allowing the thing that is blocking you to release, so that maybe something will shift no matter what's happening in your brain. So this Six of Cups thing really is about just saying, okay, universe, I am ready to feel whatever it is I didn't feel when I was 2, when I was 4, when I was 7. And I'm ready to let it emerge. And it might come up very clearly as a sensation or an emotion in your own body. And it might actually, and this can be confusing sometimes, it might come at you as either an emotion from someone else, like, all of a sudden someone's getting angry in your face and you're like, why are you being so angry? And it's the universe saying, hey, babe, there's some anger that needs to be felt. Or it might even be a situation that occurs, and what you notice is the situation, when actually what this card is asking you to do is to pull back from the situation and ask yourself, what emotion did that situation kick up in me?
Wow.
So taking it back to the dude thing, my friend was saying, okay, should I be with him or not? When actually, if she was to get this card, the question would be, what emotions is he kicking up in her? Which I think was abandonment. And can you just allow yourself to feel whatever is coming up around that whatever this guy is doing, because it's not about him. This is same guy, different haircut to the one that you dated last time and the time before that and the time before that. And he is the messenger, which means he is the mess ender, messenger, mess ender. And so you can
Wow.
thank him instead of getting mad at him for making you feel abandoned or whatever the feeling is that comes up for you. And often for me, actually, it's the opposite. I feel trapped. And then I feel angry. So they're the mess enders. They're the messengers that come to us and make us feel the feelings that we didn't get to feel properly when we were two. And that's what this card is about.
Wow. No, I'm going to need some time on what
I
came
know,
up and how that,
that
I
was a
mean,
bit
like, cause
deep.
I'm going, whoa, I'm going to have to do a meditation on that separately.
I mean, to relate it to the question that came up for both of us, which is, am I on the right path? I think so much of my journey, my spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, has been me going, okay, but am I doing it right? And if I don't feel peach cream today, then I must be doing it wrong. I must be doing the spiritual journey wrong because I'm not feeling love and light. And I need to attend another seminar, read another book, do another meditation, go to more meetings, whatever it is that my brain tells me will fix it. And I think what's become really, really clear to me in the last year or two and has been extremely helpful is that when the feeling comes up, it's not that I'm doing something wrong. It's exactly what I was talking to in this card, which is the universe is saying to me, Laura, you are ready for this now. Here you are. You are welcome. You are ready for anger now. You're welcome. There you go, kid. Try not to fire hose it on someone else because that's what you did last time. And so then the question is, how do I show up and do a lot of self-care and try and be in self-love in the midst of the mess that looks like? And that's why this journey is humbling and messy, because if it were all love and light, then wouldn't it just be so easy?
It's interesting because what came up for me was a little different. Um, the words popped into my head. My expectations, are they too high? Are my expectations of people too high? And as you were talking about the card, it brought me back to being a child, the expectations, not living up to my potential. And I need to go a little deeper into that on my own, I think, to really feel it, because I think it's going to take some time. I might have a cry fest for a good hour or two. But when that card came up and I really had to look at what you were saying, that's when I leaned back to. So I think this path I keep questioning goes back to the expectations that I have on me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, as you were saying that, I could feel in my body that my body was like, pay attention to what she's saying right now. That's important for you right now,
Oh,
Laura.
that just hit me. Just when you said that. It's weird. This holy shoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I need to do for about an hour and a half. So I don't want to
Wow.
bore you with doing it now, but for me, I
So
know the work.
yeah,
Wow.
so if you like Judi are having some feels right now, um, and it feels safe, I would love you to give yourself permission to really feel what it feels like to not repress a feeling and not feel like you have to also like stick it on Instagram immediately.
Those are
Just
expectations.
right, right. Just
Wow.
what does it feel like to really, I mean, you know, I've been doing so much just feeling of really uncomfortable feelings in my body recently. And I think a lot of it also for me has to do with letting go of startlingly high expectations I've had for myself and others that nobody can live up to.
Mm-mm.
Nobody.
At least we both admit we have them for others too.
Yeah.
Mostly the men. But
Yeah.
yes, all the men in my life, I have more expectations and I have even more of myself. But yes. And then you'll fight it and feel guilty about it and go, how can I expect that when I can't even I'm not even good enough. I can't even meet my own expectations. It's more of the
Mhm.
stuff I'm back to being a 5-year-old. I'm back to being a 7-year-old. I'm back to being a teenager. I'm not cute enough, not this enough. I mean, it's the theme played out, and I cannot be the only one.
No,
I know you
no.
go, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the core belief that I have uncovered just in the last few weeks is like underneath all of the anger and the grief and the whatever is a core belief that I am unlovable, completely unlovable. And so, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I have sabotaged every intimate partnership I've been in because I'm just picking holes in them until they prove to me that I'm unlovable.
Sound
I,
familiar?
yeah. I remember one partner saying to me, Laura, God wouldn't be able to live up to your expectations. And me being like, oh God, that can't be good. But it still took, I don't know. Knowing these things is not enough. That I think that's also part of the journey. Seeing it and having awareness of it is really important, and we can't go anywhere if we don't see it. So awareness is always the first step, and that's what the pages are about. When we get to the tens and we hit low and we're at bottom, and then we're willing to go move into the court cards. The pages are that willingness to just be surprised by ourselves and be like, oh, ooh, I didn't know that was there. Ooh, that's a bit icky.
Mm.
Um, and then, of course, the tendency is to, if we get stuck in the sort of, well, being spiritual is about being in love and light, then the tendency is to immediately repress it again and be like, well, that doesn't fit with the spiritual image, so let me shove that one onto the carpet. And I think what it took me a long time to realize was that actually that is the journey. It's what all of the teachers are pointing to if you're reading between the lines, which is you get to look at all of the stuff in you that we all have, all of us, without, self-hatred, perfectionism, selfishness, dishonesty, kidding ourselves about stuff, wanting other people to like us, just all of this stuff, people pleasing. And just being able to look at it and go, oh yeah, that's there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And feel the feelings associated with it and question the beliefs that hold us to that. And then just also be in the mess of not knowing exactly how to fix it.
That's a very hard thing to do
It's really hard.
because we are fixers, humans.
We are. Yeah. And I mean, doing that for a partner is even more badass, in my opinion. I've become better and better at doing that for myself as a single person, but really being a loving partner, being the partner that I would want, that's something I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think part of my self-love right now is to openly admit that I was not a good partner, and I never, and it's not because I'm a bad person, it's just because I didn't know how to do it.
Mm.
And
That's also a hard thing to face. I mean, most of us are, you know, um, with the ego, it's like, yeah, I'm the best you ever had, kind of a thing. And when instead of facing, okay, what makes a good partner, and you just you nailed it. It's what would you want? Be the what you want. I don't know if I said it the way
yeah.
you said it, but yeah.
And most of the time, what we want from a partner is someone who will sit across from us and be, you know, I mean, I'll tell you what I wanted when I was 4. I wanted someone to see me in my anger and say, I am not afraid of your anger. I will sit here with you while you feel it, and you are lovable no matter what.
Amen. Hashtag truth. 100% same.
Yeah. So I think that might be what I want to become for someone else. And, I'll be really proud when I get there.
You got Ben? Got
I'm
your little
doing it for
guy?
my kid. I have to say,
That's right.
yes, I am doing
You
it for
are.
my kid, and I'm doing it like a badass for my
See
2-year-old.
that? Yeah. I know. Isn't that fantastic? It's like
So, check.
you got to go
Manage
through
that.
crap in order to, not pass on that ancestral DNA, and just he's already just got such a special start, which is
Yeah.
great. Now
Yeah.
I want
Well,
to bring up
having
something.
kids helps.
Yes,
Sorry,
a
go on.
lot. I want to bring up something because I think this lends to it. And obviously, you're here for a reason. Energy brought you here. You find books for a reason. Laura, I have 3 times now. Something came up in either something I was listening to, something that scrolled. I've never looked this up, but you've talked about Running Wild Women book. What is the name of that book again? It's
Women,
I think
oh God.
Women
now
Running
that's
Wild
my
with Wolves.
Women Who Run with the Wolves. That's what
That's
it's called.
it. Women Who Run with Wolves. I am going to get it. It's going to take 2 days to deliver because I don't want an audible. I really want to read the words, but millions of female empowerment, but all just people said it was, as a female, the most eye-opening, change of life book.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you've brought it up a lot. So I think that's a good reading. Yeah, we could put it on our book list.
Yeah, I mean, we, like you said, we all get to books and podcasts when we're ready for them. And I think a lot of women become ready for that book either when they're going through their first Saturn return, which is around the age of 29, 30, or when they're going through menopause. For me, I became ready for that book because I was really trying to embrace kind of this. I didn't know how to word it at the time, but the wildness within me.
Mm.
I knew that I'd spent a lot of time creating a version of myself that I thought would be attractive, would be acceptable, would be considered something that people wanted to be around. And there was a period a few years ago where I was just like, I am going to stop shaving. I am going to like really embrace my period. And I was going hardcore. I was going outside and bleeding on the earth and all of that good stuff.
I am
And
woman, hear me roar.
yes, exactly. And, you don't have to take it to that extreme, but that felt just so healing.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so that book came up, and what it does is it's written by this extraordinary woman, Clarissa Pancola Estes, and she, I think, is an anthropologist by training, and she takes a lot of myths and just stories that are told in traditional society, and she really brings through, okay, what are the archetypal truths here that is being spoken to us, and specifically, how does it speak to reawakening our soul from the dead place that we are in, like this perfect little girl that we've become. And you can, if you're a man, you can, there is your version of that, of course, the tough butch, whatever your version was. This sanitized version of self is essentially a self where the soul has died.
Wow.
And so the book she speaks in this very lyrical way that's kind of almost poetic, and she weaves these stories in and out. And I would say that I have dipped in and out of that book many times, because there are times when my soul feels sick and it just needs to read her, in the same way that you need to listen to that Rihanna song
Or read the
15
Bible, or
times.
say,
Yeah,
or
or read
whatever it
the Bible.
is. Mm-hmm.
There are some times when I just need to, and I actually do love the audiobooks because they're spoken by her, and she has a beautiful voice. So, and there's lots.
So
more
listen
that
too.
she's
You
written.
can. I might do both, because obviously I feel the universe. Because when you've mentioned the book several times in our podcast, and not once of, oh yeah, I'll read this. This was this week 3 times. I'm like, okay, I think the universe wants me to read this book, and
Well,
so reading it and hearing it.
It's so funny how so often books come to me when I'm not quite ready to read them, or somebody mentions them or whatever, and they sit on my bookshelf for a while, and then just one day I'm like, and now I take you off the shelf and I am ready for you. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it does for you.
And maybe for you, obviously, if I brought it up to the show, maybe it's time for you. So again, we don't make a penny off this book. It's just a book that might be very empowering for you, and it's
Women Who Run with the Wolves.
women who run
with
with
the wolves. Yeah,
and the
and
link will be
it's a
there.
classic at this point. It's from the 70s, I think. I'm not quite sure.
And she's like she's a doctor, apparently, who wrote it. So
she has a PhD. Yeah.
Well,
PhD. And she's just a badass. She English is not her first language. I think Spanish was, but she just has this gorgeous way of talking that you just like. It almost sounds like she's reading you a bedtime story when she talks.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually how a lot of her stuff came out first. She was, I don't know if she was on the radio or what, but she did a lot of her stuff as audio before it became books. And you can see, when you hear her voice, you'll be like, oh, that's why, because she's got.
So you can soak it in by hearing it good.
Yeah, I mean, I also have read it too.
Oh,
So
okay. Because I was thinking of doing both, just because
yeah,
I want.
both.
So yeah, I think that
Yeah.
that's a great way, a tool, another tool, which is what this is, what this tribe is about. It's a tool for you to follow your spiritual path, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you. Make sure you subscribe. And for anything you want for getting a reading, tarotdoula.com. If you just listened to this episode or watched, if you're watching it on YouTube, then you'll see how unique Laura Pascal Brown is with tarot readings. So cool.
Thanks, Judi. All right. Well, good to see you. Keep
Namaste
coming back.
well. Yeah.